Hello, I'm Trudy Friend. As mark making is so important, it's a good idea to understand the marks you're making to do your drawings and paintings and to analyse them. Once you've done that, you can perhaps have a repertoire, as I have, of just 8-stroke applications only. So I'd like to show you how I start using the pencil, how I prepare it, how I can just do a warm-up stroke and then go into my 8 basic stroke applications. The first thing I do is sharpen the pencil to a point. If it's pointed, that means I can start rubbing it on the paper and create a chisel side and a sharp side from which I can work. So once I've got what I call a tonal block, which I gradate slightly in order to see what sort of texture is made on this paper surface, I can then turn the pencil and use the thin side or the wider chisel side, depending on what I want to depict. So first of all, I'm going to show you how to keep the pencil on the paper and turn it to use both these sides. So I'm starting off with a narrow stroke. Now I'm turning the pencil and going into a wide stroke and going up and down with that stroke, and then turning it again into a narrow stroke, up into a wide stroke, and then perhaps a little twist, and I have a bulrush. There are other things one can do with it. You can almost paint with the pencil. If you press quite hard, move along and twist as you lift off and then come back again, you can actually do a leaf in just 2 strokes. So that's up, press, twist and back, and again the other side, out, press, twist and back. If you want a wider leaf, all you do is go along again. And a lot of this depends very much on the pressure I'm placing on the pencil and how I understand that by twisting it I can get that interesting tapering end. The first stroke is just a basic on-off pressure application. So it's touch, press as you travel and lift off. Then you can come back again, touch, press and lift, touch, press and lift. And you can see that a stroke like this could easily represent the surface of water. You can turn your pencil and get the sharp side and start practicing press and lift, press and lift. This sort of stroke could very easily be used for wood grain or anything that required this sort of interest. And you can practice these by going in a contoured way, by gradually turning them. And if you do a page of strokes like this, you'll be really understanding your pencil and finding out how it can help you just by the varied pressure you put on. So these sort of on-off pressure strokes are a very good basic warm-up ready for the rest that are about to follow. The next stroke is still an on-off pressure, but I call it the erratic or irregular application. For this, I move the pencil along, but I'm making an uneven mark. To achieve this, sometimes it helps to squeeze the pencil so tight that you're making your hand shake a little, and that gives you the interest. And this is a very good stroke for things like a tiled roof, or again, if you wanted certain types of wood grain, possibly on sawn wood, you'd get this uneven pressure. So we could think of going around on some sort of pattern that you get when you saw across a piece of wood. This stroke number 2 has A, B and C, and I call this the A. B is the twist, so it's touch and twist, so that you're actually losing. What this is doing is giving you angles. And if you've got angles, you can come off from those angles, again with another twist, and you're creating quite realistic twigs. And it can also work for things like cracks in the wall. Once I've done a few like that, I do the zigzag. The zigzag can be done either vertically or horizontally. And it's just a way of applying the pencil in another interesting way. But if you've got a twig coming like that, and you want it wider where it joins onto the branch, you zigzag down towards that join and then zigzag away, getting wider and this makes it more realistic as you come down towards the main trunk of the tree. So I would zigzag up here and perhaps widen this one with a zigzag and make this one more realistic where it joins on. So I'm going to twist away again and twist out again and zigzag back, and twisting up and zigzag back. So the zigzags widen up and make it more realistic. If you find the twist a little bit difficult, just try rocking your pencil, and that will also produce the angles from which you can bring off the other twigs. So for the third stroke I have to get a chisel side back to the pencil. So I'm going to once again make my tonal block. You can see how some of the pencil is actually coming onto the paper. There's little rubbings there. It's because I've got such a soft pencil. It's the soft pencil that enables this lovely wide stroke, which I call the grazing stroke. When I apply this to watercolour, it is grazing, but it's really just laying a watercolour wash. But here I'm grazing across the paper, and I can graze in different directions. If it was a bank coming down, I would graze the angle of the bank. If I wanted a contoured surface, I would graze around. But a little image that is very easy to master with the grazing stroke is a series of mountains. So we climb the mountain, pushing up towards the silhouette shape of it, and then we come down, and then we go over and back down, and I'm going to feel as if I'm going up and down the mountain side with these strokes, and then cutting in against the mountain and away again for another one behind, and slowly bring them down into a horizontal grazing. And if there was another one behind here, I could do a dark area and then graze away. Then I could just turn the pencil and very gently do one or two little marks, the way you'd get little shadows coming down on the sunny side of the mountain. Put is just putting the pencil on the paper. I'm now going to push upwards and pull downwards. I use this stroke a lot for foliage because I can push up into a silhouette edge and pull down to get the bulk of the foliage mass. So I'm pushing up. When I push up into the silhouette, I'm thinking always of getting interest around those edges. And if something occurred like that, which is rather a straight line, I would straight away turn it into something interesting. So I'm pushing upwards and pulling downwards, pushing upwards and pulling back down. And as I work down, I think of things like negative shapes, because we want shapes that the birds could fly through and that could support with thin branches and twigs the mass of foliage that's going above. So I'm actually incorporating one of my other strokes now, which is a little bit of a pull down, but it's also a twist up. So I could twist up to support that foliage mass and come from this side. And you can see how I'm twisting the pencil to give those angles, and it's the angles that bring off the other branches. I'm now taking it out to the left a bit more. So I'm pushing out and pulling back in. And I could do that on the other side, pushing up, out and pulling back. I'm now going to go up to the main trunk, leave a gap and go beyond that, and leave a gap and go beyond again. Now I'm getting counter change, which is light against dark. Here, if I bring that down, I can come into dark against light again. I'm now splaying out into the shape of the lower area, and I'm doing pull down strokes. And then a little bit of a thicker, I'm getting it a bit thick there, so I'm just going to go onto my toes a little bit, which actually is the next stroke. I'm coming into that a little bit ahead of time. So I'm coming down, so I'm doing zigzag, and then up again, and twist, and onto the chisel side of the pencil. If you don't get it first time, just turn the pencil and look to see if you can see the shiny chisel side, and then you go out and pull around, and that's how to build the little tree.